Hello. Welcome to Second Act Magic. I'm Colleen McCann, your love and magic mentor. So, if you are a sensitive woman over 45, I want you to hear this. There's a magic. There is a magic. I'm going to say it one more time. There is a magic to us sensitive people. Chances are you have not reclaimed your magic yet. You may just think your sensitivity is a fundamental flaw and people don't like it about you. Well, I'm here to tell you it can be, and it is, your superpower. I'm going to share a little secret with you. Don't say it too loud, but our feelings actually matter, and they're there for a reason. And some of us have, I call it extra feelers. It's like we have extra senses, and some of us have highly evolved extra senses that baffle, even maybe scare some people. Just think back in the days of yore. If you told people, "Oh, I hear God talking to me, and I can touch you, and your leg will heal," they were, their minds were blown. They didn't know what the fuck you were talking about. And they probably thought, "Devil, let's kill you or banish you or teach you not to embrace your God-given talents and magic." So, after lifetimes of this persecution, a lot of us, if not most of us, said, "No, thank you, not again, not in this lifetime. No way. I would rather just be uncomfortable in my own little bubble and just pretend like I'm normal." Well, I'm here to tell you, stop being normal. It's time to reclaim our magic and it's time to get empowered again and embrace our God given talents. I've written a book. It's called From Sensitive to Badass, An Empath's Guide to a Magic Filled Life. And it's stories from my own life of being a sensitive person and being in search of something to help me find first some resolution to my hyperhidrosis, meaning horribly sweaty hands that I had for most of my life. Let's just say just about the first at least 45 years of my life, if not 50. And I was looking for, please, 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 some kind of inner peace. I didn't realize who I was till I hit close to, yeah, I was about 40. And my mom gave me a book called The Emotion Code, which blew my mind. And in that book, Dr. Bradley Nelson, thank you, Dr. Nelson, taught me that when we don't experience our emotions, they get trapped in us until we're ready to acknowledge them and work out old energy. And he taught me an elegant way of locating these trapped emotions and clearing them. And as a result, my whole life opened up. I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you? So that gave me learning that process gave me a toehold into doing energy work. And I know energy work, people are like, ew, woo. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've been taking the woo, the ooh out of woo for almost 18 years now. And I've developed, because no one could give me any answers about my hyperhidrosis, sweaty hands. So I had to figure it out myself. And in the process, I've created a system, an energy healing system. What? I was a chiropractor. And before that, I determined eligibility for welfare programs. So I'm no different than anybody else, other than I saw a problem that no one could fix, and I've just been determined to figure it out. And I've codified it, meaning I've made it into a repeatable system. And one of the brilliant things about my system, I'm not patting myself on the back, but oh, looks like I am. The beautiful thing about my system is, or one of the keys in my book is, when we are emotionally triggered, you know what that feels like? It feels really, really, really bad. Sometimes like the world can never be okay again because I feel so fucking shitty. But with my system, and what I can teach you is to recognize, hmm, I can't see straight because of this thing that's happening in the world, or that thing that person said, or this thing that happened. I teach you to recognize, I'm triggered. And although I'm feeling horrible and like nothing could ever make me feel okay again, I teach you how to recognize these times. And that's right. Part of my system is get out my pendulum and I sit down and I start asking questions about it. And I have what I call a master menu, which I'll teach you to create your own. And I ask, is there something energetic bubbling up for me, some old energy that hasn't been healed? Is there something bubbling up for me right now that I can address and resolve? And the answer is always yes. And if it's a no, then I know something else is up. All my answers, all of our answers are clues, but I'll get to that in another video. So, but I ask, is there something energetic bubbling up to the surface here for my ultimate healing and well being and highest good? And if it's a yes, I ask, okay, is that possibility of opening a window to energy that needs to be healed? Is it on my master menu? Yes. And I have different things that I've gotten good at, like releasing trapped emotions. Thanks, Dr. Bradley Nelson again. Other entries on my master menu are spirit attachments. Maybe I have some spirit attached to me that and I'm feeling their feelings. Perhaps it's somebody who died that didn't make that next step to the light. We'll just call it to the light. Because some souls are just kind of stuck. And when they glom onto us, sensitive people, whoo, I know I've had dead people attached to me when I was having a great old time, and all of a sudden I couldn't think of a good reason to live. That's my clue to sit down, get out my pendulum, and realize, oh, I have a girl with me, a dead girl, ooh, and she committed suicide. Mm. And I'm feeling her stuff. Great. And then I have my ways of clearing it up. And I'm making these videos. I'm making these videos for you because I want you to know this is a thing and there is relief available. I promise you. What I would highly recommend is that you check out my book. Like before, if you someday you might consider, I might like a session with Colleen. Well, what or get some mentoring. Ooh, that's going to be fun for anybody who signs up for that. I have a lot to share. I have a lot to share. Because here's the deal. The more of this energy that you clean up, it's like you're cleaning every time you clean something up, it's like you're wiping away another bit of gunk, old energy, old gunk on your windshield of perception. And you'll notice after several clearings, maybe even from one clearing, I feel better. So, for example, I don't mean for this to be political, but here we go. When somebody was elected 8 years ago, I woke up that day and I was beside myself. I did not know what to do. I felt like the world was ending and could never be okay again. So after I got my husband off to work, I sat on the couch and I sobbed and sobbed until, because I've trained myself, and I'd love to train you as well, I trained myself to, it's almost like there was a little me over here going, oh, Muffin, as soon as you can stand the thought of it, you're going to get out your pendulum and see what is bubbling up to the surface. What old energy is so in my face right now? It's begging to be acknowledged and cleaned up. And so, even though I was still crying, I grabbed my pendulum and started asking questions. I asked, is there something bubbling up for me in this huge upset, which feels like it can never be resolved? Yeah, the answer was yes. Is it something on my master menu? Yes. And I kid you not, I released a couple of, I believe, trapped emotions from when I was a little kid. And after After I released these couple of emotions, I said out loud, because to myself, because I was home alone, I said, "Huh, I feel better." And I went about my day. And I went about the next 8 years like that too. And then 8 years later, something similar happened and I still wasn't triggered. And I want to be real clear. I do not like the orange one. I never will. I don't respect him. I think he's a wounded child who resonates with a lot of other wounded people, and they elected him again. And the thing is, what we need to really pay attention to, yes, there are things in the world that need to change, and it's good that it has our attentions, because we need to keep paying attention to what's happening as history is repeating itself. However, the distinction to make is either I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like that Roe v. Wade was overturned. Phew. Read about that in the book, my trigger there. I don't like that thing I'm seeing. I don't like racism. I don't like poverty. I don't like selfish people. There's a lot of things we don't like, but what is crucial and can change things is to pay attention to what is happening within each of us. So when you start tending to your triggers, you recognize them, first of all. That's key. You recognize this old energy that's screaming for, begging for attention and acknowledgement, just like a small child. If they're acting out, there's something behind that. They're not just being little assholes. So make the distinction between, okay, I don't like what I see here, or I am over the top consumed with it and I can't even live my normal life. And all of my precious, precious focus is going into this thing. And I'm just walking around as a giant trigger and looking for trouble and looking for people to agree with me to add fuel to my fire. Okay, that might be kind of satisfying. Thanks, social media. But it's not cleaning anything up. It's not helping you move forward. So when you start recognizing your triggers and you have a system for dealing with them, I'm not gonna fuck around here. It'll change your whole life. And when you, as a sensitive person, start reclaiming your magic, watch how less afraid you are of everything and you start tending to your own garden. Start weeding out the triggers that show up for you and you notice them as you notice them. And then you can pay attention to what you don't like, what you see in the world, and you can come at it from a neutral position. You don't like it, might be outraged, but it's not consuming you. So then you can do something about it. So that is way more than I meant to say in this video. And this is what I call a doing the video instead of waiting for it to be perfect. So welcome to my very imperfect first video in my second act magic series. Check me out at energyhealingwithcolleen.com if you'd like to learn more. And as I mentioned, I've written a book. It's called From Sensitive to Badass, An Empath's Guide to a Magic-Filled Life. If you're interested in what I'm saying, that would be a really inexpensive way to learn some stuff because I do teach this. I teach the beginning energy work. And I share lots of stories from my life of how I came to these conclusions and findings. And my dream and my mission is to help as many sensitive women reclaim their magic as possible. And I have a special place in my heart for those of us who are a little bit older. So if you're over 45 and you're interested in this, check out the book and contact me or go to my website and see what I have to offer you. Thanks for listening. I love you. If you're magical, if you're sensitive, seriously, we are the magic people. Have a beautiful day. See you next time.